All right, buckle up because this week's SmackDown was absolutely wild. We've got a stack of sources to unpack, articles, fan reactions, even some backstage whispers. And trust me, you are not ready for the twists this deep dive has in store.
What's fascinating about this episode
Yeah.
is how one event, The Rock's return, seems to have triggered a chain reaction
Mm-hmm.
of chaos and disruption across the entire roster. It's like a domino effect, and we're just starting to see the pieces fall.
Let's start with the bombshell itself. The Rock's grand entrance, not on Raw as everyone predicted, but right here on SmackDown. I mean, talk about shaking things up.
And this wasn't just a nostalgia play, though. The Rock immediately inserted himself into the championship picture, setting the stage for what could be a WrestleMania showdown for the ages.
Right, and the way he did it, urging Cody Rhodes to be my champion. What was that all about? Is he trying to mentor Cody, manipulate him, or is this a subtle challenge?
Remember, The Rock has always thrived on blurring the lines between face and heel. This cryptic message plays perfectly into that. He's feeding the fans' desire for a dream match, while simultaneously sowing seeds of doubt about his true intentions. It's a masterclass in generating buzz and keeping everyone guessing.
It's definitely working. The internet is already exploding with theories. But before we get too lost in WrestleMania speculation, let's rewind a bit. The Rock's return wasn't the only live shocker of the night. Remember Nick Aldis, who was supposed to be in that six-man tag match? He suddenly backs out, claiming he's following The Rock's direct orders.
This adds a whole new layer of intrigue to The Rock's game plan. Is he assembling a faction? Does he have a specific target in mind? And what does this say about his willingness to manipulate events behind the scenes? It's like he's playing 4D chess while everyone else is still figuring out checkers.
Okay, so we've got The Rock back, a little bit S, potentially pulling strings behind the scenes, and Cody Rhodes caught in the crosshairs. But this web of intrigue doesn't stop there. Let's shift gears to another match that left everyone stunned. Drew McIntyre versus Jimmy Uso.
On the surface,
Yeah.
this might seem like a straightforward match, but it actually reveals a lot about the shifting power dynamics within the bloodline.
Jimmy pulling off that win with that clever pin was definitely an upset. But then we see McIntyre's reaction afterward. Pure fury. You could practically feel the tension radiating off him.
This wasn't just a loss for McIntyre. It was a blow to his pride. And the way Jimmy capitalized on the opportunity, using a move we haven't seen from him before, suggests a newfound confidence, maybe even a bit of cunning that we haven't witnessed before.
It makes you wonder if this is all part of a larger strategy, orchestrated by Roman Reigns. Is he deliberately pushing his family members to step up, to prove themselves?
It's a classic power play, actually. By allowing his cousins to take on these high-profile matches, Roman can assess their strengths and weaknesses. He's essentially grooming them for leadership roles within the bloodline, while simultaneously solidifying his own dominance.
It's like a real-life Shakespearean drama unfolding with family loyalties and power struggles at the forefront. And speaking of power struggles, the tag team division is about to erupt. That chaotic mess of shifting alliances and surprise betrayals had me on the edge of my seat the whole time.
Let's break it down. We start with this hilarious, yet strangely effective team-up between Carmelo Hayes, The Miz, and R-Truth. Can we talk about that Louisiana joke for a second?
Classic R-Truth. But then they managed to pull off a win, with Nakamura's help no less. What are we supposed to make of this alliance?
Think about the individual strengths each wrestler brings to the table. Hayes' raw talent, Miz's cunning and experience, and Nakamura's unpredictable wildcard energy. If they can harness that combined power and overcome their obvious personality clashes, they could be a real force to be reckoned with.
So we've got this potential powerhouse trio on one side, and then we've got the absolute mayhem of the hashtag DIY versus Pretty Deadly match. Seriously, those guys were tearing each other apart. And just when you thought it couldn't get any wilder, the Street Profits decide to make their presence known.
The Street Profits crashing that match, leading to a disqualification, was a clear message. They are not content to sit on the sidelines. They want those tag team titles back, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to get them.
And with hashtag DIY's title reign already looking shaky, this just throws another wrench into the works. The tag team division is wide open right now, and anyone could grab that brass ring.
It's a recipe for chaos, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Me either. But you know what? This chaos isn't confined to the men's division. The women of SmackDown are bringing the heat as well, and it's clear that WrestleMania is looming large in their minds.
The tension is palpable, especially with that showdown brewing between Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair.
Let's rewind to Stratton's segment. She's trying to address Flair's challenge, but then, boom, Nia Jax and Candice LeRae crash the party.
This was a brilliant way to showcase the depth of the women's division. We've got established veterans like Jax and Flair, rising stars like Stratton, and fan favorites like LeRae, all vying for their moment in the spotlight.
And that brawl. That led to the Stratton versus LeRae match. With Flair watching from commentary like a hawk, you could practically cut the tension with a knife.
This wasn't just about winning a match. It was about sending a message. Stratton wanted to prove she could handle the pressure, while LeRae was determined to show she's still a threat. And Flair, she was studying her opponents, assessing their weaknesses, already strategizing for her eventual WrestleMania showdown.
But the real shocker came later, with that brutal attack on Naomi and Bianca Belair. I mean, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. You just went off of them.
That was a statement, plain and simple. They weren't just going for a win. They were sending a message to the entire division.
I was on the edge of my seat. The suddenness of it, the brutality, it was like something snapped in them.
There's a fascinating psychological layer to this. Both Morgan and Rodriguez have been on the cusp of championship glory before, only to fall short. This attack could represent a shift in their mindset, a willingness to embrace a more ruthless approach to get what they want.
You're saying they're done playing by the rules.
Think of it like this. They've realized that nice guys finish last. They're tired of being overlooked, and they're ready to fight tooth and nail for their spot at the top.
And what about Belair and Naomi? They're not exactly known for backing down from a challenge.
This attack might have inadvertently lit a fire under them. We could see a side of Belair and Naomi we haven't seen before, a ferocity born out of revenge. It sets the stage for a WrestleMania feud that could steal the entire show.
Okay, so we've got The Rock dropping bombshells, Jimmy Uso making power moves, and Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez unleashing their inner demons. But wait, there's more. We haven't even touched on that main event mayhem.
Yes. The six-man tag match turned chaotic showdown. From the moment The Rock intervened, we knew this wasn't going to be a typical match.
And then it morphs into this intense battle between Damian Priest and Braun Strowman versus Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. You could feel the tension in the air.
This was a brilliant example of how WWE can seamlessly shift gears and create multiple layers of storytelling within a single match. We've got the overarching narrative of The Rock disrupting the established order, and then we've got these individual rivalries simmering beneath the surface.
And then the turning point. Fatu accidentally strikes Sikoa, leading to their defeat. It was like watching a train wreck in slow motion.
This seemingly minor mistake could have major consequences for the bloodline. Remember what we were discussing earlier about Roman Reigns' strategy? This could be the chink in his armor, the moment his carefully constructed empire starts to crumble.
You think this one mistake could bring down the entire bloodline? It seems a bit dramatic, don't you think?
Not necessarily. Think back to historical examples, both in wrestling and real-world power structures. Internal conflict, doubt, and a loss of trust can be just as damaging as any external threat. This one incident could snowball, creating a rift between the family members that ultimately leads to their downfall.
Okay, I'm starting to see your point, but even if the bloodline manages to weather this storm, they've got a whole new set of problems to deal with. The Rock is back, and he's clearly not afraid to play dirty.
The Rock's return has thrown a wrench into everyone's plans. He's a wild card, a force of nature that can't be controlled, and that unpredictability is what makes him so dangerous.
It's like he set off a chain reaction of chaos, and we're just along for the ride. But you know what? I wouldn't have it any other way. This is what makes wrestling so exciting. The drama, the surprises, the constant feeling that anything could happen at any moment.
This SmackDown was a masterclass in long-term storytelling. They planted the seeds for multiple storylines that could play out for months, even years.
And I can't wait to see how it all unfolds. So, as we head towards WrestleMania, what are the key things you think we should be paying attention to?
First and foremost, gimmick. Keep a close eye on The Rock. His every move, every word, every gesture could be a clue to his grand plan. Is he truly here to mentor Cody Rhodes? Or does he have a more sinister agenda?
And what about the bloodline? Will they be able to overcome this internal conflict, or will this one mistake be their undoing?
The dynamics within that family are fascinating. Will we see a power struggle between Roman Reigns and his cousins? Will someone finally step up and challenge his authority?
Let's not forget the tag team division, which is more volatile than ever. With so many potential contenders vying for those championships, it's anyone's game.
And with WrestleMania right around the corner, the stakes are higher than ever. Everyone wants a piece of that WrestleMania spotlight,
Yeah.
and they're willing to do whatever it takes to get it.
It's going to be a wild ride, and I can't wait to see what twists and turns are in store for us.
Remember, in WWE, the smallest detail can have major repercussions. A missed move, a whispered word, a change in expression. These are the things that can shift the balance of power and alter the course of history.
So as we dissect these sources, let's not just focus on the big moments. Let's pay attention to the nuances, the subtle hints that might reveal the true intentions of these superstars.
Because in the world of WWE, nothing is ever what it seems. And that's what makes it so captivating.
You know, it's funny. We often talk about WWE as a soap opera for men. But this episode felt more like a high-stakes political thriller. Alliances shifting, power plays, hidden agendas. It's all there.
That's a great analogy.
Mm-hmm.
And just like in any good political drama, the character's motivations are complex and often contradictory. Take The Rock, for example. Is he driven by ego, a desire to leave a lasting legacy?
Yeah.
Or is there something deeper at play?
There's definitely a sense that he's not just here for the accolades or the spotlight. He wants to shape the future of WWE, to leave his mark on a new generation. But is he doing it for the right reasons? That's the question that keeps me up at night.
And that's the brilliance of The Rock's character. He embodies that duality, that tension between ambition and altruism. We're never quite sure if we should be cheering for him or questioning his motives.
And that uncertainty is what makes him so compelling to watch. He keeps us guessing, and that's what creates those water cooler moments, those heated debates about his true intentions.
Speaking of water cooler moments, let's talk about Jimmy Uso's shocking victory over Drew McIntyre. On the surface, it's a feel-good story, the underdog overcoming the odds. But if we dig a little deeper, it raises some intriguing questions about the future of the bloodline.
You're right. It's not just about Jimmy proving himself as a competitor. It's about the potential ripple effects this could have on the family dynamic.
Think back to historical examples of family-run empires, both in wrestling and in the real world. Often, it's not external threats that bring them down, but internal rivalries and power struggles.
Yeah, you're saying Jimmy's win could actually sow the seeds of discord within the bloodline?
It's definitely a possibility. As Jimmy gains confidence and recognition, he might start to question Roman's authority. We could see a shift in the balance of power, a struggle for control that could fracture the family from within.
It's like a Shakespearean tragedy in the making. Ambition, betrayal, the fall of a once mighty empire. And to think, it all started with one seemingly insignificant victory.
This episode was a reminder that in WWE, every action has a reaction. A single match can have far-reaching consequences, altering the course of storylines and changing the destinies of these superstars.
It's a testament to the power of storytelling, to the intricate web of cause and effect that keeps us hooked week after week.
And as we head towards WrestleMania, the stakes are only going to get higher. Rivalries will intensify, alliances will be tested, and the battle for supremacy will reach a fever pitch.
So, what's your prediction? For the grandest stage of them all, who do you think will emerge victorious?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The beauty of WWE is that anything can happen. We might see a shocking upset, a surprise return, or a twist that nobody saw coming.
And that's what keeps us coming back for more. The unpredictability, the drama, the chance to witness history in the making.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with this thought. Pay attention to the details. Watch the faces. Listen to the words. And try to decipher the unspoken messages.
Because in WWE, sometimes the most important clues are hidden in plain sight.
Until next time, keep those theories coming. And remember, it's not just about the wins and losses. It's about the stories we tell ourselves about them.
That's all the time we have for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time for another thrilling ride through the world of WWE.